We welcome you into yet another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show. We thought for this edition we'd try something crazy like, I don't know, both of us being here in the same place at the same time.
Hello. My name is Keith Keller. Nice to meet you.
It's been a little while.
Hello. You have a
nice to meet you, big guy.
I have a very large head. What's your name?
I root for the Pittsburgh Penguins. How's your team doing? What? Oh, that got ugly fast.
Yeah. So I did some additional on the Flyers travels. They had 6 games in 9 days last week.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. And that's after traveling back from Tahoe.
Yeah.
It was a pretty brutal stretch they just went through. And then, they got, there'll be 7 games in 11 days because they got to play tonight again. So
yeah. They
got stomped by the Pens 2 out of 3. And then the Caps took care of them the other night pretty bad. So, I don't know.
And of the 3 games, the one that you felt most sure about
Exactly.
3 minutes in was game 2. It's like, oh, man, this is going to be a laugh or an incredible comeback by the Flyers, and just an embarrassing job in that third period in particular by the Penguins in falling apart. But, Penguins take 2 of 3 in the series, and then followed up with another win Sunday, and hopefully another one coming up here with the Rangers again. So we'll see. Big news nationally, Dak Prescott signing.
We're talking about that, bud.
Yeah, I just don't I really just don't understand. I mean, good for him, right? I mean, more power to you. And, I get if you're the Cowboys, it's kind of like I've been talking with some friends about the Steelers situation. It's like, well, listen, regardless of where you are on, you think Ben's got another year left, you think he's done, whatever. What is the better option right now for the Steelers that they will be able to get for next season? And there isn't one. I'll answer the question for you, that there is not a better option that this team, with the current cap restrictions and everything else, is going to be able to do for next year. So, you roll the dice with Big Ben, and I think, listen, you've got to be looking at this draft and with free agents. I mean, you've got to be looking at options, right? I mean, that's got to be part of the equation here. But for next year, Big Ben is your best option, and he's willing to take a little bit of a cut to make it happen, and make it a little more manageable for the Steelers as well. And I think similarly, but completely different, right? Dak Prescott is the best option right now for the Cowboys. But man, oh man, dude, $160 million for a dude that has not proven himself at the highest levels, right? I mean, do you consider him? I don't know. I was trying to think about this this morning in anticipation of the show. He's certainly not a top 10 quarterback right now in the NFL, right? I mean, there would be 10 guys that you would take pretty quickly over him right now. I think he's probably in that conversation in that next group, that next 6 or 7, but
I don't get it.
4 years, $160 million. That's not that next group type of money there.
We got to talk about this. The man is coming off a devastating leg injury. Not one person has mentioned that.
Yeah. And again, I think even before, I'm with you. And that's,
no one's even saying bring that up. I mean,
but even before that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I don't see it. I don't see it.
It's not a situation where to your point, yes, even more questions around him and whether or not this is, even an option, let alone a long-term option for the Cowboys. But, to pay that kind of money, like, you've got to be really sold that this is going to be a top 10 guy anyway. And I just even more so, you're right, with the injury that it just is perplexing to me as to why the Cowboys are making this move at this point.
I like Dak Prescott as a human being, as a football player, all that stuff. It's all groovy and this and that, but
agreed.
Dude, the salary cap is $185 million next year, and he's going to cost them $40 million.
Yeah.
So I have a couple questions, and that's just, I think that Dak Prescott is a fantastic play-action quarterback because he has a dominant offensive line and a dominant running game, that they really have to maintain that.
Yeah.
But when you took that away last year, he wasn't doing much. I mean, he was Matt Stafford last year in the fourth quarter. He was just completely Phillip Rivers, Matt Stafford late in the game, late or third or fourth quarter when they're down 20 points, and he's throwing the ball 98% of the time, and his stats are padded. They're huge. Oh, well, he had his best career year last year. Did he really? They weren't really going anywhere with him.
Yeah,
there's a lot going into all of this, and I mean, I'm happy as an Eagles fan, buddy.
I'm happy as just somebody who despises the Cowboys.
Oh my goodness!
I love seeing the move.
He's the face of their program. I get it, but you still have. And then I want to, we're going to dovetail this into my next thing. But you still have Ezekiel Elliott, who you're paying big money to. You got Amari Cooper, who you want to pay big money to. You got Trayvon Smith, I believe this is his name, the left tackle, the mutant left tackle. Oh, I mean, it's unbelievable. So you have now $145 million that you could spend after signing Dak Prescott. I mean, to a guy who. It goes back to what we've been saying for a long time, and I am even more convinced today than ever that there needs to be 2 salary caps in the NFL. Because the fact that he's going to take, $40 million of $185 on one player is insane. Yep. Now you have 52 other guys who have to, be under contract for that money. So let's take it back a little bit more. What Russell Wilson is doing right now, I mean, we talk about a lot is that rookie contract. The guys are Jared Goff, the Carson Wentz's, the Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was the epitome of that. The guy playing on his first contract, and you can have stars upon stars all around him. But then 2 years ago, Russell Wilson gets paid. Takes up 35% of the salary cap. Guess what you can't do? You can't have all these stars around him. And then just blows my mind that Russell Wilson comes out and says he's complaining to the Seattle Seahawks that they're not getting enough players around him. Dude, you took 40% of the salary cap. You can't have it both ways. And that's what I just told Boots off the air. I said, it just seemed like the ultimate millennial move. Like, I got mine. Now I'm going to complain about something else. And you're not giving me players. First of all, you got DK Metcalf.
Yeah,
I mean, you're loaded on the outside. I mean, he's getting hit a lot. He's complaining about having to run the ball so much, but that's what makes you good. Is the threat of you running is what makes you Russell Wilson. I go back. I mean, they need to restructure this quarterback money thing because it's insane.
And I'm telling you, it's why. I think so many folks have so much respect for Tom Brady and what he did over the years. And we've talked about this before, and there are not a lot of individuals that are truly willing to put their ego aside and be all in for the team.
Yeah.
And really, I would argue now, the other side of that is obviously Tom Brady has made a boatload of money as a result of all of those championships and is, I think, unquestionably now. I mean, I'm sure are people that will dispute that he's the greatest of all time at the quarterback position, but they are few and far between. I mean, it is an overwhelming consensus now, right? That you're looking at the greatest quarterback in the history of the game. But he certainly was not paid like that over the course of his career, and really even now. But again, I think it is part of why he has the legacy he does. And again, I think he's also, a big picture guy in understanding that, listen, little less money here in terms of the salary. We win this on the face of the organization, right? And that has been the case. I mean, he has been able to pick and choose, his endorsement deals and all of the other opportunities that he has had. And not that, he's ever going to be hurting for money either. But again, neither any of these guys that are lasting more than 4 or 5 years these days in the NFL, especially at the quarterback spot, right? You're if you're smart, you're set up for a lifetime here financially.
Well, that's where I'm looking at a person like Russell Wilson and Dak Prescott because they're both 4th-round draft picks. Brady's a 6th-round draft pick, so they weren't like these big bonus babies going into their, they weren't the Sam Bradford, $50 million before he took a snap.
Right.
And I'm glad the NFL got rid of that, of overpaying their rookies and stuff like that. But, it doesn't hurt that Tom Brady is not the breadwinner in his relationship. That's also not a bad thing. Yeah. I mean, when your wife can walk down a runway and get paid $20 million for 1 hour of work, hey, it's pretty good work if you can get it. I have that at home with my wife.
Obviously.
Yes. So I understand. Me and Tom are very much in the same boat in that situation.
Absolutely.
No, but it's just Tom Brady for all those years. And you know what? If you really think about it, he always gave the company, help them out a little bit. Hey, I'm going to take less money, get some more players. But he never really got it on offense. He got it.
Yeah.
His defense was well paid, and his offensive line were well paid, but he understood the big picture of the whole thing. No, but I mean, I know Dak's been trying to get this contract. This is the 3rd year now because they franchised him twice.
Yep.
And now he has generational money, which is fantastic because I love the Dak Prescott story. I like him as a person, as a human being.
Yep.
It's a fantastic thing, but I mean, that's just not. I don't think it was a smart play by Dallas doing that.
I don't either. I think it was, and I think that'll pan out. Although, truthfully, when is the last time you sat back and you were like, "Whoa, man, did Jerry Jones just pull one over?"
I did.
Wow, did that dude?
I did figure this out. He
figure out how to beat the rest of the NFL.
He bought the Dallas Cowboys for $189 million in 1989, and they're now worth $4 billion. So yes,
yeah, fair enough. But from a football, I'm talking about from
I know.
Oh, look out! This guy's going to. But and that's a fair point. And really, for that matter, for as much as I despise. I've hidden it well. As much as I despise the Pittsburgh Pirates ownership, they're going to make a tidy fortune off of whatever. And tomorrow would be, in fact, tonight would be a good time to sell if you're thinking about it, there, dear McClatchy Group. But financially, these things. Especially for an organization like the Cowboys, makes sense. But again, from a football competitive standpoint, I mean, this feels like it assures that the Cowboys are going to be where they've been, i.e., not winning playoff games for at least another 4 years.
The Eagles were one of the top teams over the cap last year, or as of right now. So they have to readjust and this and that. I just don't understand how they're going to keep Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, the Smith, and all those defensive players. I just don't. I mean, get better. They're not going to. They can't do that,
right? Because you're not going to be able to improve. Your other areas of the football team, which is what you have to do.
And
right
is it
now
really a big deal for 4 years? I mean, you locked your guy in for 4 years for $160 million, and it's like.
Well, that's the other. I mean, there's so many components to this, none of which makes sense. But that's the other thing. Are you? Because this feels like a deal that this is a deal that you would make normally, right? A normal organization, normal ownership would make this because, man, you know what? We see it. This is our window. We've got to capitalize on the opportunity here. And this might not be the best quarterback, maybe not even top 10, but he fits in with what we're doing, and all the other pieces are in place, so we got to make the run now. I mean, does anybody realistically think that the Cowboys are there right now?
No.
I mean, you couldn't possibly.
When they sit there saying, "Oh, you know what? Dak's contract is the last piece of the puzzle we got to figure out,"
and that's what it is. I mean, that's what it feels like it should be, right? To agree to a deal that makes that little sense in any other regard.
Well, I go back to what's going on right now in the NFC East. Is obviously the NFC East is the front runner for the meddling owner. I mean, Jeffrey Lurie is now proving that he is a meddling owner by saying that Jalen Hurts is going to get this and going to get that. It's like the Eagles were good. The Redskins were good. The Giants were good when you let football people make football decisions. And now the Giants, I believe, are the one team who in the NFC East who don't have a meddling owner.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about that. It's crazy to start thinking about, but it's true. You got Schneider, Lurie, and Jerry Jones down there. I mean, they're tinkering way too much with the team, and the Giants are just going, doing their stuff, doing what the Giants do, and they're very much run like the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they allow the football people to make football decisions, and they don't make the decisions with their hearts, because there's a lot of guys the Steelers would have signed, and a lot of other teams would have signed a lot of old Steelers who left and got away, and to that third or fourth contract, which the Steelers don't do. That's their hard line. The Eagles were like that for a long time. They let a guy like Brian Dawkins walk away. They didn't want to pay him that third contract, which is where the player gets his most money, his lifetime money. And the Eagles and the Steelers have proven they will never do that.
Yeah,
they don't do that. They'll take care of you more than you're worth in your second contract, but when it's up, it's up, and it's sort of heartless, but it's the way business is done, and that's how the Steelers have had this longevity of being very good for a long time for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about that.
I mean, there's no thing other than Jerry Jones. His heart was set on Dak Prescott being his quarterback. Nobody. I mean, when you're the general manager and your son is the assistant general manager, and you both have a thing for Dak Prescott and you like him as a person and he's coming off an injury and you feel bad about that, and we have to take care of him. It's like the Yankees when they paid Derek Jeter all that money that in his career. Normal teams would have done that. Yeah. It was just like, hey, thank you. Well, you know what? This is major leagues. This is the professional leagues. It's not about your heart. It's about your money and about team and stuff like that. So,
and productivity.
It's very interesting to see. I mean, 3 years from now, we're sitting here talking about how Dak Prescott had won 2 Super Bowls. I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, I'll be happy. I mean, if the Cowboys make the playoffs or make a run in the next 2 or 3 years, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I'm with you. Again, maybe we're not seeing it. Maybe Jerry has pulled one over on everybody. But boy, it feels like this is a big-time mistake by a big-time organization.
Yep.
Switch gears a little bit, talk some Penn State basketball, because that was I did not get a chance to see it because of the wrestling, but boy, what a second half.
Holy heck.
And if all the more reason now, right? I mean, like Ferry has to be given the opportunity, right? To at least get one more year here and see it in a somewhat normal year, hopefully next season, what he can put together.
You would think.
I mean, got the reaffirmation of the commitment. I don't know. It feels to me like that win. I mean, it felt like it before that win, but with that win, it feels like this is something that pretty much has to happen now, to me. Outside looking in, I don't know what else. And in fairness, I don't know what the other names are. I mean, maybe they'll make a change, and I'll be completely on board when I hear who the other name is. But boy, as we sit here right now, it just feels like Ferry deserves that opportunity.
I think so. You think so, but it's not really what we're thinking. It's the people over at Old Main and the people at the Bryce Jordan Center. I don't know. You would think that he deserves another opportunity to, a full season to. If we're going to give James Franklin and his staff a pass on an 0-5 season to start and say, okay, you know what, this is a real season now, then you got to give Jim Ferry that pass, because he was given the reins late in the summer. I believe it was October when Pat was unceremoniously let go. You're going in October, and the fact that they kept one of the recruits is now coming back into the fold has got to say something about this program. I mean, he reaffirmed his commitment to Penn State. I mean, come on, you got to say something. There's got to be something said about that. And, I think Santa needs to make an announcement of saying, hey, Jim Ferry's our guy for at least another year, or Jim, he's got a very good shot to come back. I think that tomorrow, or Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday may have something to do with that. I mean, we're playing very well right now, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Watching that game the other night.
Yeah.
First of all, Mark Turgeon might be available to be the head coach, because I think he should be fired from Maryland with what he has been doing recently. But that's besides the point. But Penn State basketball, we were laughing a couple weeks ago, like, hey, you take away that crap Nebraska loss, and you win 2 games in this tournament. You're a 500 record right now in the Big Ten. I mean, there's got to be something said about that. I mean, it's by far and away the best conference in the country. And I got one for you. They win 3 games. I'm not saying they're going to, but I'm saying they have a possibility to win. They got to beat Nebraska, Wisconsin, and Iowa. Pushed over 500, right? We'll be at 500 then, Booch, or will we be right over 500?
With 3.
We're at 500 in the Big Ten. I think there's a damn good shot of getting in. I know it's bizarre to think about, but I mean,
yeah, I'm just not sure. One, that they get there. I mean, hypothetically, though, I don't know. I think they're probably still heartbreakingly close again, but on the outside looking in.
Well, we've proved Nebraska they deserve a whooping tomorrow night. But then you got Wisconsin. We proved that we could beat them. We could prove that we could play and run with Iowa a little bit. I mean, we beat them 1 out of 2 last year. So, I mean,
I just worry.
But 3 nights in a row is tough.
Yeah, and against that Iowa team, which is also playing very well right now, and with Garza, I mean,
you don't worry about Luka Garza. I'll take care of Luka Garza, okay?
Absolutely. I think that's a pretty tall order, though.
Absolutely, it is. But I mean, hey, you got to go for it, baby. You got to go.
Yeah, and again, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's impossible by any stretch. But again, I think getting 3 wins here is
a very tall order.
Unlikely.
But going back to, I think that Coach Ferry deserves another year, like we said. I really do. The way this team has, I mean, like we said, I mean, he took the job in early October.
Yeah.
The Thursday before Penn State's first football game, he resigned.
And it feels like he's getting the job done relatively well on the court and relatively well off the court again with the reaffirming of the commitment, but also just the I think the way this team has been able to manage everything that it had to manage this season. So,
I mean, like I said, if we are willing to give football a break because of the 0-5 start and how they came back, you got to be able to give basketball that same break. That this crazy season, and basketball got shut down for 2 weeks, if you remember.
Yeah, even more so. I also just I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because I truthfully, I mean, I've read the headlines. I haven't really delved a whole lot into it with the Les Miles story and him in Kansas now parting ways after all of the reported misdeeds and misbehavior. I will just say, and I get that this is getting a lot of coverage right now, but it'll die down in a couple of days, whereas the quote-unquote culture problem at Penn State was talked about for months ad nauseum when there was zero evidence that because of the Penn State fans and administration's desire to win, that there was a cover-up of child sex abuse. I mean, no evidence of that at all by anybody, anywhere, ever. Here we have, again, from what I'm reading, and I've learned to take everything with media reports early on when we're getting one side with a grain of salt. But the fact that Kansas and Les Miles have parted ways, it sure sounds like there was some true, real, honest-to-God culture problems at LSU. When your athletic director is telling you, yeah, I wanted to part ways with him, but what is I going to do? He's the football coach. That's a problem, folks. And I mean, good God. Again, if what is alleged to have occurred did occur, I mean, this is stuff out of movies about how a football culture can take over an entire area.
Was it Mr. Emmert at LSU around that time also?
Well, there's a whole. That's another
whole. Oh, let's not think about that one.
That's another whole can of worms.
Oh,
that I would
culture,
like to open,
that culture issue at LSU that we talk about, and no, we're not going to talk about that. But he's the president, and
they actually had a situation where they were telling him that he could not be talking, and at least again, according to the headlines, and I try to delve more into this and actually read through. If what is being alleged again is accurate, I mean, this truly was a university and a program, but a university willing to cover up and sweep under the rug,
pay it off, make it go
huge, serious allegations that they obviously took very credibly. It wasn't like it was serious allegations and then they investigated and it's, we didn't think anything was good. I mean, they're admitting, from what is being reported here, they were admitted at the time. They went to Les and said, listen, you got to curtail your behavior instead of, hey, this is unacceptable behavior, you're out of here. I mean, it really is pretty amazing stuff.
Well, how about the scandals going on at Ohio State, Michigan State, and Michigan now with the doctors? There's three of them.
Yeah.
Are they going to get their bowl money taken back? Are they going to take their bowl money and just fine them and all?
And again, in those situations, we're talking about direct contact with the student athletes, which is completely different. And again, there was never any presumption of innocence at Penn State. The Michigan State thing, to me, is at least to this point, the most egregious because, again, there's, I think, pretty substantial and overwhelming evidence in that particular case.
Well, and then, we got the guy at the USA gymnastics coach literally committed suicide last week when the charges were when he had to report to prison for charges and stuff like that. The whole Michigan State. And you don't hear anything about it. We're going to hear about Pepe Le Pew and Mr. Potato Head getting canceled. We're not going to talk about that. It's unbelievable.
It is. We'll take a break here. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the Big Ten Wrestling Tournament this past weekend. The Nittany Lions finishing second behind Iowa, which ran away
right where we want them, Ironhead. Right where we want them.
Team title. That is a really, really good Iowa team. But I think this is a Penn State team that is certainly going to bear watching here in the coming years, and for that matter, even at the NCAA championships this year. But we'll be back to talk some Penn State wrestling after this as we continue with the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. Both of us actually at Quaker Steak and Lube.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Introducing the new dusted Ghost Pepper at Quaker Steak and Lube. 11,700 SHUs of fire dusted on award-winning wings. Try it, or are you afraid of the heat?
Hi, Johnny Broom here. If you're in the market for a new Hyundai or a pre-owned car, truck, van, or SUV, nobody beats a Blaze Alexander deal. But don't take my word for it.
Hey, Goon says tell him Johnny sent you.
Hey, tell him Johnny sent ya.
Tell him Johnny sent ya.
Wait, tell him Juan or tell him Johnny sent ya?
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Here at Bill Pickle's Tap Room, we say,
tell him Johnny sent you.
And remember,
tell him Johnny sent you.
And we welcome you back into the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. As I wolf down my steak salad here, always love coming to the Lube. Again, we strongly encourage you to support local businesses. Certainly, Quaker Steak and Lube has just done an amazing job, really, throughout this entire pandemic and the shutdowns and readjusting to everything they're doing here. And still great food, great service, all of the things we've come to expect and rely on at Quaker Steak and Lube. Certainly the same thing with Lion Country Kia Goon. Just wonderful people, local people doing wonderful things. And again, certainly encourage you to support our sponsors, but local business in general, as hopefully we're slowly starting to emerge on the other side of this thing. Fingers crossed.
A fantastic time of year the next 3 or 4 weeks. With
it really is.
I mean, we're starting tournament play right now. Pitt's playing right now in basketball in the ACC tournament. Then we start the Big Ten tomorrow. Then you got that whole thing this weekend, and we got something called the NCAA tournament.
Always exciting when we're in the last hour and a half of Pitt season, right?
That's true.
I mean, that's exciting.
Very true. But you're looking at next Thursday and Friday, the Lube is the place to watch wrestling, basketball. I know basketball only has 4 games next week. Really weird how they set the NCAA basketball tournament up. So check your scheduling. Make sure, because most people take that whole Thursday and Friday off, but there's really not that much going on that Thursday now.
Yeah.
But looking forward, you got St. Patty's next week. You got the NCAA tournament. You got wrestling tournament, which is huge, which I want to talk about, which is I'm saying for 2 years, Ironhead. And it scared me because I watched that Iowa team the other night. I do have an honest question for you.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people have asked me this, and I want to hear your honest opinion. Tell me why or how the reason why so many Pennsylvania kids are at Iowa.
Well, it really goes back to Jody Strittmatter, who wrestled at Iowa and now has the club in the Pittsburgh area. Okay. And it's just become a funnel. The kids now, they're not getting all of the kids that come through that program. Yeah. I mean, Vincenzo Joseph and Jason Nolf were.
So that's the first I'm hearing about that. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
But yeah, a lot of those kids, are exposed at the very least to.
So we got to get this guy out of here. Huh? We got to get this guy out of Pittsburgh
at a young age. Well, listen, at the end of the day, and listen, there's some guys there. Certainly, the Penn State would love to have on their team, and then Spencer Lee is at the very top of that list. But Cal's talked about this a lot over the years. When you're recruiting, and I'm sure it's the same to some degree for football and basketball and all of the sports, where you're recruiting you're not just recruiting for a year, right? You're recruiting big picture. You're recruiting a 5-year period. But I think even more so in wrestling, where you just have the 9.9 scholarships, you are trying to identify, right, who the best guy over a 4 or 5 year period is going to be. So you may have the top guy in the country coming out this year that you miss on, but if you think there's a guy in this class behind, or even 2 classes behind, that is going to be able to beat these top guys in these next 2 years,
yes,
you may be waiting to. And again, part of it is how everything times out with your team, right? You're not going to deliberately leave a hole in your lineup for 3 years because we think this freshman in high school is the next great thing. But again, you may adjust for a year or 2 because, we can't. This guy is going to get a full scholarship, but we don't think he's the guy for a 4 or 5 year period. And so, like Michael Kemmerer, Penn State would love to have him, but they got Jason Nolf instead. I mean, that was kind of where it was. You got to give to one of them. And Kemmerer has had a fantastic career, right? I mean, he'll be a 4-time All-American. If he's healthy, national champion, multiple-time finalist. I mean, the whole bit. But Jason Nolf was a 4-time finalist and 3-time champion. So hard to say Penn State, did the wrong thing there. And obviously, Kemmerer now has moved up a couple of weight classes, but had Mark Hall in front of him last year.
I'm with you.
And Carter Starachi. Listen, Kemmerer was very good. I suspect if they meet again, a big if, but if they meet again, it will at least be a closer bout. Kemmerer is outstanding, and his experience, I think, obviously shining through. So, but, again, Spencer Lee, to me, is the only guy that you look at and say, with the way everything played out, that is a guy that obviously you would have loved to have had.
Now, if I recall, you once said that he was the kid who wanted to leave Pennsylvania pretty much. He wanted to get out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that was at least I haven't talked to Spencer personally about it, but if you read through things with between the girlfriend, but also that he just wanted to go out and make his mark somewhere else. And I was a pretty good place to make your mark, right? And I do think, obviously, what Spencer has done on the mat, just in and of itself, has been fantastic for Iowa. But I do think he is largely responsible for being able to help assemble, much the way David Taylor did at the start of the Cael Sanderson era.
Gotcha.
I think there were kids that were looking at it, it's like, well, if Spencer's going there and he's telling me, I think we can do something special here. Let's see if we can unite forces and make this happen. And I think just the culture, the way that he competes, it's very much like what Cael Sanderson has developed at Penn State. And I think that Spencer has just changed the mindset, I think, for that program again. And I think he deserves just a tremendous amount of credit for that. So,
good analogy. Thank you. I needed to know that because I had so many people ask me the other day.
But so, both of these programs, both Penn State and Iowa, are recruiting on a national level. And all of those top programs are, right? I mean, the Michigans and the Oklahoma States.
But you make a point. I mean, I'm thinking that football, there's a scholarship here. You can produce, but then it's a whole different world.
Yeah, and again, with the 9.9 scholarships, so, and listen, we've seen it with a number of different kids over the years where it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this kid, Penn State's letting him get away, but it's like, well, okay, but you have a Nick Lee there at 141, or you have a Roman Bravo Young at 33, and there have not been a lot of guys. And again, Spencer Lee is certainly one of them. But there have not been a lot of guys that have gotten away and have gone on and had better success than what Penn State had at that weight class over a 4 or 5 year period. And again, that doesn't mean that couldn't change. I do think next year, and listen, I'm not foregoing this year. I still think Penn State has a chance to regroup and change some things in a couple of weeks. I really think next season, if most of the Iowa kids do come back, and if Nick Lee, stays solid in his desire to return, I think there is going to be one heck of a battle next year between Penn State and Iowa for the team title. I think you're going to be looking at a couple of all-time great teams. I think it's going to be similar to what we saw with Penn State and Ohio State a couple of years ago in terms of that team race, and just up and down the lineup, you're looking at just really intriguing head-to-head matchups, because I think, Greg Kirkfleet, if he's able to stay healthy and get, a full training session under his belt, Carter Starachi, the same thing, Robbie Howard, the same thing, right? A lot of these guys are going to make tremendous strides. And that's not to say, Iowa's kids, because they're seniors, aren't going to make strides. But there's just more of an upside, right? More potential to capitalize on right now if you're Penn State, because of these young kids. And normally, you do see that greatest progression from that freshman to sophomore season in terms of improvement. Again, provided you're able to stay healthy and go through the normal competition cycle.
Kammerer and Marinelli will be on the back end of their career, at 50 plus years old. I mean, it should benefit Penn State when they're pushing 56 years old right now. It just seems like those guys have been there for 15 years, and the fact that you're saying they can come back next year just absolutely blows my mind. Another stat that blew my mind the other day is that Brooks is the only one right now who has the ability to be a 5-time Big Ten champion.
Yeah.
And that's what we're staying for. I thought about that. I was like, you know what? You could be that person who was a 5-time 5-time Big Ten champion. That's unbelievable to me. But that's the world we live in right now.
Yeah.
All right. Heavyweight. I am just absolutely amazed at what I saw Saturday night.
Yep.
After what I saw, our guys Kirkfleet,
right? Yep.
What I saw Parrish do to him, after what I saw Kirkfleet do to the kid from Purdue, and that's the first time I watched him live, and I was like, this is awesome. He looks like a bully, he's smacking hands, he's this and that. And then he goes out and the Michigan kid in Paris was just unbelievable to me.
Yep.
And then I was like, wow, this kid's a dominant star, this and that. And then I go watch, I know Gable Stevenson. We all know that.
Yep.
And then I watched that final match, and I was like, oh, my God. I was taken aback about how good Stevenson was.
Yeah, there's two things
That's unbelievable.
Two things that were really going through my mind during that match. One is if you're going to talk about an opponent leading into a match, you better be ready to back it up. And listen, Mason Parris has been sensational this season. Spectacular.
Yes.
This season. But that was not competitive. And so, yes, a big part of me was also, wow, Gable Stevenson has really taken this game to another level. The other thing, though, that I just kept thinking about is, do you understand how good Anthony Cassar was?
That's ridiculous.
For Penn State, because he handled Gable
twice.
And listen, right? They were both close matches. I don't want to make it sound like he dominated, but he was the better wrestler both times they wrestled. It was he was the better wrestler. And again, I think Gable Stevenson has taken another step, certainly from where he was at that point. But again, Mason Parris is up here compared to the rest of the field, and Gable Stevenson is that much better than him. So do you understand the girth that exists right now between Gable Stevenson and everybody else below? Tony Cassiope and everybody else, Jordan Wood, all of the guys, and Greg Kirkfleet, all of those guys right now. Again, you are looking up, way, way up. And Anthony Cassar beat that guy, and beat him twice.
Yep.
That is.
I love how Ironhead's using the word girth explaining heavyweights. Did you catch on to that?
Oh yeah, you have to. It's in the wrestling.
Oh, it's a fantastic girth. It's a massive.
But man, Stevenson is really, really special.
I was taken aback, buddy.
For as prohibitive of a favorite as I've been saying all along, and he still is, Spencer Lee is, I'm not sure Gable Stevenson isn't every bit as much of a favorite as heavyweight after watching that bout with Mason Parris. Who is going to give Gable Stevenson a bout? Greg Kirkfleet gave him a very good match.
Luca Garza.
In high school, but Kirkfleet, I just don't think has had enough mat time here this year, and I just don't think the conditioning. Again, next year, do I think that's it's a possibility that Greg Kirkfleet could go and even beat him? Yeah, I do. But he's got to stay healthy, and he's got to get
his injury?
A complete training cycle. I'm not sure that it's been publicly disclosed, so I'm not going to.
That's my next question, by the way.
I'm not going to share it, but he. I'm not sure if he's. I don't think it's the ill effects of the injury. I think it is more. Again, just the lack of being on the mat here that's hurting him.
Very professional, Ironhead. Very professional. Because that's my question to you is, it looked like we had a lot of time off this year. We didn't have much time on the mats. A Penn State guy back in the day, down a point, is attacking, trying to get that point. And it looks like we didn't have the springs or the energy to do that the other weekend. Last weekend.
I thought some of the guys did. Nick Lee wrestled a sensational tournament, and
yes,
again, I think you can flip a coin between what I consider the top three. Somebody was asking me about Tariq Wilson, and Wilson could. I'll be curious to see how they seed this thing. In my mind, and I'm not saying Tariq Wilson on a given day again couldn't beat any of them, because he certainly has the moves to score big points against anybody. But to me, those top three in the Big Ten are the top three in the country, and then there is a little bit of a drop-off to Wilson and then the rest of the field. I really do think, Jaden Ironman, Sebastian Rivera, and truthfully, if you're a Nick Lee fan, a Penn State fan, I think you want Tariq Wilson to get that 3 seed, which a couple of the message boards I was reading earlier today, they think he should and will get that 3 seed. Again, and not that Tariq Wilson is an easy out, so don't read anything into this. I'm not giving bulletin board material, but
I don't know, Ironhead.
Nick Lee and Tariq Wilson did wrestle at an Nittany Lion Wrestling Club live event, and Lee won fairly handily. Now, that's a freestyle event and folk style. Again, different time of the year, different style of wrestling, the whole bit. But I think the top 3 guys in that weight class are in the Big Ten, and I think if you're Nick Lee, you would rather have Sebastian Rivera in the other half of the bracket. Let Rivera and Ironman battle it out the way Lee and Rivera battled it out Saturday night, and then be the guy left standing if you can get through your side of the bracket in the finals rather than wrestle both of those guys again. But I think, again, truly you can flip a coin between Rivera, Ironman, and Lee. And hats off. I mean, Ironman deserved the title, fought his way to it, but I just think any of those 3 are capable of winning the national title, and I think there's just not much at all separating them. And I could watch any Ironman and Rivera, Ironman and Lee and Rivera, Lee and Ironman, any one of those bouts I would pay to watch over and over again because it's just great wrestling. You got 3 truly great wrestlers that are in supreme condition, all normally wear their opponents out. None of them can wear each other out. It's just great wrestling at the top end there at 141.
Well, you'll find this funny. My father-in-law, very intelligent, smart man. He made a comment this weekend. He's like, "What is that? Is that their national ranks?" I said, "No, it's the Big Ten ranking." He looked at me and he goes, "So it's their national rankings, pretty much." I mean, it's pretty much we're going to go 1 through 3, and then it's going to fill in somebody else from another conference. So, I mean, that's going to be absolutely amazing next week. And I've been there the last 3 or 4 years, and I was told, and I'm, you know me, I'm not a huge wrestling guy. I've been to matches at Penn State for years, but I'm watching that tournament, and it was just like, hey, how long is this going to be? They're like, it's going to be 2 hours. And I'm like, come on, and I see these guys running out, wrestling, kicking the crap out of each other. Then the whistles, boop, over, 8 more guys, 16 more guys run out there on the 8 mats and start murdering each other. Then they do it all over, and they get a 5-minute break in between. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
But I am very much looking forward to next Thursday through Saturday. And we said it last year, in watching that Iowa team, that's a different team. They don't seem so tight in the butthole. They seem like they're pretty relaxed and this and that. So it's going to be a little uphill. From what I'm saying is, I see them as Michigan football, who only want to win the Big Ten titles. They don't see the national scene. And that's what Cale has always been good at. He's always seen that national thing, and always seen the big picture versus the Big Ten was always about. We got to win. You got to win the Big Ten conference, and then you go get slaughtered by USC in a Rose Bowl. I mean,
yeah, and here's the thing. I've had a couple of people ask me if I still think Penn State can, make a run or win the national title this year. And yes, but it's going to be a whole lot of things that need to go right, and they're going to need some help, right? Somewhere along the way, I was going to have to stumble a bit. But here's the thing, from Penn State's perspective, and if you're wanting to look at it from the glasses half full perspective,
I always do.
I truly think you have 4 legit national title contenders here in Roman Bravo Young, who, again, whether or not he can beat Dayton Fix, who's certainly going to be the number 1 seed for Oklahoma State. I don't know, but I think it's going to be a very entertaining bout if it occurs. And listen, both of them will have their work cut out to get there. 133 is, again, a very, very good weight class, and I don't think either of them are short of being there. But I think rightfully they're the top 2 seeds, and I think the expectation is that that'll be your final on Saturday night in the Nationals. And again, I think with the way Roman is wrestling right now, that is going to be one heck of a battle at 133. Again, 141, I think Nick Lee could finish anywhere from 1st to 3rd and could very well win the national title, or depending on how the seeds go, could could finish third.
Gotcha.
At worst, in my mind, again, if he stays healthy. Aaron Brooks is certainly a national title contender, and I think will be the 1 seed at the national tournament.
I do got to say that was a very, very big, bald move what he went through this past weekend. That was a nasty looking little ankle.
Yes, it was.
And then to do what he did, I do want to ask you that.
Yeah.
That Brands kid who he got hurt against, is that one of the Brands' kids?
Yeah, it's Terry's son. Tom, the head coach.
Did he marry a mutant, a big girl? I mean, those guys are 112.
It wouldn't take much to marry bigger than the Brands brothers. And listen, Nelson is he is a goer. I know he's not.
He made that a brawl.
Yeah, and he's going to have a lot of success. I will not be at all surprised if he's an All-American this year, and he's going to be a title contender down the road. It's going to come there. Yeah.
Jeez.
So he's going to, he'll make his mark before it's all said and done with that Iowa program. I have no doubt.
I watched that match with him and Brooks, and he made that. That was an absolute street brawl.
Yeah, and I think Carter Starace is a legit national title contender. Obviously, Michael Kemmerer is the guy to beat there, and it's going to be very difficult, but I think everybody else Carter is capable of beating. And again, I think he'll make some adjustments. Whether or not, again, it's enough against a fifth-year senior that is as talented as Michael Kemmerer. You hope he gets the opportunity, right?
Sure.
That's what you hope if you're a Penn State fan, that he gets at least a chance to see him again. And then after that, so for Penn State to make a run, I think they probably need at least 3 of those 4 in the finals, and all 4 to certainly finish in the top 3. And then you've got to get some big points out of at least 3 of the other weight classes, and probably 4 to make a serious run at Iowa. And so, let's start with Robbie Howard, who I think is just, you see why he was recruited so heavily and why Penn State is excited about him. And it's just getting that match experience now. And I think with each match, you can genuinely see his progress as he continues to develop. And again, it's a loaded weight class. I don't know whether he's going to be on the podium in St. Louis or not. I think he's going to have a real shot to do that. Part of it's going to be the matchups and whether or not, he's getting guys that he matches up well with or not when we get to like the blood round, presuming he gets to the blood round.
Yes.
But I think he is a guy that can score some significant points in the team race. And again, if Penn State's going to make a run at Iowa, big if at this point, I mean, Robbie's going to have to be on the podium. He's one of the guys that's going to have to be an All-American. Brady Berge to me is kind of the key to me. I think if you're looking for the barometer guy, to me it's Berge, because 157 is in my mind kind of a wide open weight class after Ryan Deacon. Deacon I think has just separated himself from the field there. Yeah,
he was nasty.
Yeah, he's exceptional. But I really think Berge is capable of beating anybody, and I'm not saying he has no chance against Deacon if he got that opportunity, but I think he matches up well with everybody else at that weight class. And again, like we saw at Big Tens, I think it's going to be a takedown here or there that's the difference. If Brady Berge finishes third, Penn State could very well be in the hunt here for a national title. If Brady Berge loses in the blood round or earlier, right, it's pretty unlikely you're going to see Penn State having a shot against Iowa going in that final day of the championships. Joe Lee's a guy that's dangerous, and I think just has to clean some things up. I'm not worried about his long-term career, but he's a little sloppy just with his with some technical things. Obviously, it's stuff that they'll work on. I think next year you're going to see him make some tremendous strides. Whether or not he can make those strides in a couple of weeks, I don't know, because he's a guy that is capable of pinning anybody and can, again, right now be pinned by a lot of those top guys. So, if he gets a shocking pin in the second round and gets to the quarterfinals and starts to feel good about himself, and I mean, he could make a run. I don't think going into it you're expecting that or necessarily counting on it, but that could be, an unexpected positive factor for Penn State. And then the last two weight classes, to me, behind Berge, are going to be the key here for Penn State, because Michael Beard, again, has shown he's right there with just about anybody. And he's another guy that I think could finish as high as, probably fourth or fifth there at 97, or, might only get you a win or two at the national tournament. And again, it's a big difference in point differential.
Yep.
And same thing with Greg Kirkfleet. I think that's a guy that could finish fourth or fifth, or again, go 1 and 2 in the tournament. And so for Penn State to make any kind of a serious run at Iowa, and I think Penn State is going to make a strong run to be the runner-up at worst this year. And I think Penn State will finish in the top 4 at nationals one way or another. But to make a run at Iowa, again, I think you need those top 4 guys for Penn State, the 4 guys that were in the Big Ten finals, to all be 3 of the 4 to be in the national finals, and the other guy to finish third. Yeah. And then I think you need somebody else to probably finish third as well, or at least in that top 4. And again, I think they have guys that are capable of that, in Berge, in Beard, and and even Kirkfleet. I know Kirkfleet got handled by Cassiope there on Sunday, but if he can get his takedowns going, big if. But I'm not sure that's not about that he's not capable of reversing. I don't know with where he's at right now that he's capable of beating those top 2 guys, and Stevenson and Paris. But I think everybody else there, he's got a shot against anyway going in. And certainly anybody outside of the Cassiope in the top 2. So, those are the things that would need to happen.
I agree.
And again, it's asking a lot. And you just look at that Iowa team again. It's such a veteran team. Yes. I am impressed with the way the Hawkeyes handled. I will say, coming off the COVID, because they didn't wrestle a dual meet in about a month.
Yep.
And to handle that the way they did and come out and look as good as they did, speaks a lot about those kids. And it helps having a veteran team and the 6 seniors and 2 juniors and all of that. But that's still that's impressive that you're able to put that together after that long of a layoff from competition.
Now, Marinelli, which blew my mind, they said the highest he's ever done in the NCAAs is 5th. He's a 3-time Big Ten champion who's the highest he finished was 5 so far. So we need that to happen, correct?
Yes.
We need that to happen to a couple Iowa guys, and our guys got to step up, which is not unheard of. So I'm completely on board with that. My next question is, over under 18, last name Lee, being in the NCAA tournament this year. I mean, how many guys were named Lee in that tournament in the Big Tens?
Yeah. Brayton's pretty good for Minnesota, obviously.
And you got one in Iowa, you got 2 losses here. Oklahoma State got 3 guys named Lee back there, and UCLA's got 4. I mean, come on. Arizona State, what's going on? I just found it so funny. There was 4 different guys named Lee in a tournament this weekend.
Yeah.
But, dude, I'm being – this can happen. I mean, I really think it can happen. There's obviously some help needs to be done from other guys. I mean, I remember the Cleveland tournament. The kid who came here from Kent State.
Yeah. Kyle Cannell,
he made a freaking huge run out there and helped Penn State out big time.
And there's no question. And that's the thing. Again, it's for Penn State to win the national title or be in the hunt on Saturday night. They're going to need some help. There's going to have to be a big upset or 2 somewhere along the way from guys against Iowa. But also they need somebody to make a big unexpected run. I'm talking about unexpected from the national perspective. A Brady Berge to get to the finals, a Michael Beard to get to the top 3.
I can't wait for this.
Robbie Howard to get into the top 3 or 4.
Like amazing.
And if you can get a couple of guys to do that, right, then now you're right there.
Look at it like this, Ironhead. We're going to go watch Penn State win a national title in wrestling next Saturday night, and then after that at 10 p.m. out in the West Coast, Penn State basketball is playing for a Sweet 16 in entrance in hoops. Yeah.
Yeah, I do have somebody asking a bit ago about Bo Bartlett, and yes, he can get a wild card bid, and we will find that out tonight, I think, is when they make the announcement, and then tomorrow they'll announce the field and the bracket. So,
two other things.
Yep.
Both Godwin and Allen Robinson were both franchise tagged by Buccaneers and Bears, respectively, this afternoon. So
very good.
Now they're both getting paid top 3 money. Both massive raises for our guys.
And well-deserved.
Absolutely, man.
In both cases. Although I'm guessing Allen isn't altogether thrilled with that. There are
some rumors of Mr. Russell Wilson coming to the second city, possibly. So he might be pretty happy about that.
That would help. We thank you for tuning in. It's nice to be in your presence again.
Hello,
here,
Jeffrey. Great show. Nice meeting you finally. It was very nice to get
weird to do the show together. Let's try it again Thursday.
Let's do it, baby.
We will talk to you then. Until then, be good and be safe.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Introducing the new dusted Ghost Pepper at Quaker Steak and Lube. 11,700 SHUs of fire dusted on award-winning wings. Try it, or are you afraid of the heat?
He's not getting that car in there.
No, sir.
Hey, look at these two troublemakers.
Johnny, how are you?
Wicked car, is that new?
Yeah, it's a Sonata. Let me park it.
Oh, you're not fitting your car in there.
Chris, stop being a smarty pants, all right? Look who's got Smart Park. Even Bruiser can park it. Just hit the clicker. I can park it anywhere.
Beaver Stadium?
Parked it.
Even the Jordan Center?
Parked it.
Even Medlar Field?
Even Bruiser parked it.
Hey, you can't park there.
He's got Smart Park!
Wicked smart.
Blaze Alexander Hyundai. It's wicked smart.
Same thing.